This is the Pro Zone. This is Pro Zone's PUBG tips. Let's go. My first tip is be aware of your position at all times. In this game, positioning is everything. Most fights and kills are won by being in the better position than your opponent. But here's the tricky part, knowing what the better position is. It changes depending on the situation. But generally, make sure you're behind cover and have escape routes with cover, such as rocks, buildings, trees, etc. Also, having the high ground is usually more useful than being the low ground. My second tip is cover is everything. I know I said positioning is everything, but cover is just as important. Now it's pretty simple. If you're behind cover, the enemy can't shoot you, as long as the cover is facing them. Tricky part is when you think they're in one spot, and then it turns out they're in another spot where your cover doesn't actually cover you. But if you're in cover properly, you will survive, and it will help you and probably save you in a lot of gunfights. My third tip is don't loot too early. Don't loot a body too soon after you killed them, especially in a populated area like school. And this is especially true if you're playing solo. Playing duo or squad, you don't have to worry too much about this because you have teammates supporting you. But for solo, super important. So if you go to loot someone as soon as you kill them, there's a chance that someone else will have heard the gunfight and they'll run over. And then they see you loot the body, and it's easy pickings for another kill and get some gear. But the only note is, if you don't actually have a good gun other than pistol when you do the kill, then obviously go and rush and get that loot as soon as possible. My fourth tip is land, follow, punch. What I mean by this is when you land at the start of a game and you're running to get some loot and you see someone in front of you, don't worry about it, because as long as you're close enough that you're on them by the time they start loading the weapon, you'll be able to punch them out, because they have to load it up. So you can just punch, and then they're down before they can even get a shot off. Now, make sure you're close enough to get away with it, and just be wary of an SMG or an automatic rifle, because if they load it, then you're screwed. My fifth tip is run strafe. So when you're not in cover, like an open field, and you're getting fired upon, start running away from the gunfire and strafe. Be sure to mix up your timing and sometimes how to jump. Make it unpredictable. And that will most likely, as long as they're far away enough, allow you to survive from being shot at. But it also depends on the other player's skill and the weapon. With the Mini 14 or SKS with, say, a cheek pad and a compensator, this strategy is not going to be as successful. And if they're up close, clearly not going to be that successful. But I've survived quite a few times using them. My sixth tip is crouch jump. Now, it's not going to be as effective once vaulting and climbing is introduced, but until then, this is going to really help you out. So you hit the C button with the spacebar at the same time. What I do is I hit the spacebar first, and as immediately when I start hitting the spacebar, I'll hit the C button. Now this lets you jump higher, reach the crates and ruins, which you couldn't before, and allows you to jump out windows and balconies. It gives you a much better maneuverability in houses where there's only one way up and one way down. My seventh tip is running crouch jump. Now, you only use this in areas such as school, which the windows are higher off the ground, which makes it harder, basically impossible, to do a normal crouch jump for. Now, I go to school a lot, so I thought this is useful for those who like to go to school as well. You have to be running. You have to be holding shift while you crouch jump. It's the only way, and it comes really handy because you know when you land and you don't have a gun or just a pistol, and you're followed by a bloodthirsty maniac with a shotgun or AR or SMG, this tip will help you get the jump out windows and away from the bloodthirsty maniac, who most likely than not doesn't know how to really do running crouch jump, or is not going to think that way while he's chasing you, which helped you escape, go through another door, or jump crouch to another window. My eighth tip is in short range firefights, do not zoom in. Do not. Now what I mean by this is, typically in a firefight you will click on your right click on your mouse and you'll zoom all the way in your sights. Now The problem with that in short range firefights is they're too close. So if they strafe or if they jump, you will get out of your sights. You know, you won't hit them. So what I do is I just enhance my hip fire accuracy. So instead of clicking on your right click, you hold on your right click, and you notice that it becomes a little more accurate, but still hip fire. It's a hip sight. And what I noticed that is that you can then account for the person strafing or jumping, where you wouldn't be able to account for them if you're all the way zoomed in. And this has really helped me win a lot of firefights. So I would recommend that instead of zooming all the way in, which I've seen a lot of friends do, other players, and they end up dying. You just enhance your hip fire, you win that fight. So that's probably one of the biggest ones I have to give. My 9th tip is watch out for airdrop campers. Now, if you don't get to an airdrop immediately as it lands, there's a high likelihood there's going to be a group or duo or solo camping, depending on which mode you're playing. So if you're not close to the airdrop when it lands, I would avoid it, you know, because people know that people congregate towards an airdrop. So they'll get there first, they'll pick up the gear, camp up right near it, and get easy kills. So that's my advice on airdrops. My 10th tip is do not clump up. And this applies if you're playing duos or squads, because if you're clumped up together in one little spot, say behind one rock, and you encounter another duo or squad, they only have one place to shoot at, where all of you are at, and it's easy for them, down one or two of you, three of you, just to frag, one frag, and you all die. So it's better to spread out so that if someone gets down, it doesn't ruin the entire team. My 11th tip is play with the same group again and again. Like any team competition or team sport, whatever you want to refer to this, it only works when you have chemistry, and chemistry comes from playing together. And specifically in PUBG, you end up learning each other's playstyles, and your playstyles morph together to work coherently as a group. Like I played the other day with a friend that I don't normally play PUBG with, and our playstyles were completely different. They clashed, and we didn't do well. But with the group of players that I play with, probably over 100 rounds with, we do fairly well because they know how I play, I know how they play, and it really meshes well together. My 12th tip is bait people. Now, baiting people is golden. It gets you kills and increases your chance of survival and getting better loot by looting them. Now, there's a number of ways to bait. You could wait at an airdrop. You could also leave some good spawn loot and just camp that loot. Or you could leave some of your own loot, like a first aid, in a way that looks like a natural spawn, and jump on them when they go to pick it up. And the final way, which I love, is locating a car and camping nearby the car. And so when the player gets in the car or near it, go and you take them out, like in this clip. Tip 13 is don't play to win, play for kills if you want to improve. Now what I mean by that is you can play conservative and try to get top 10 without firing a shot, but will that improve your skills? Probably not. You know, winning is fun, but in this game, winning doesn't mean you're actually improving. You know, so what I would say is go to populated area and play it again in crazy gunfights at the start. That's where you're going to gain the experience in these firefights. So your stats might not be as good, but your skills will, and when the next season comes around, your stats will shoot up. The 14th and final clip is play, play, play. You know, that's the best way to hone your skills and eventually have more fun. It's like anything you do in life, you know, you're probably not going to be the best or very good at something, and you're not going to improve suddenly overnight. But you keep practicing at it, you get better, you get to the point that you're pretty good, you know. So usually to get decent at PUBG, you will need the grind. you will need to play over and over and over again. And that's what I did. I was not that great at PUBG. I'd say I'm decent now. And to get to the point I'm at, I had to grind. Over 400 hours at this point. So, if you really want to get decent at this game, that's what you're going to do. So I recommend you play. And overall, I hope you enjoyed these tips. I hope you take something away from these and that you improve based on these. Thanks.